Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. Delighted to have you accompany the main talking points on tonight's programme. Scotland manager Gordon Strachan names a 27-man squad for the forthcoming friendly against Malta. Celtic are in Israel for their return leg in the Champions League playoff. And it's a Monday, so we might as well look back at all those results over the weekend in the company of Alan Ruff and our Bootroom guest, Mark Guidi. So let's start with that 27-man squad for Scotland. We'll have a look at it now. Gordon Strachan, with a few omissions, as ever, when he names a squad. People like to talk about the players that are not in there. Craig Gordon, Jack Hamilton and David Marshall, the goalkeepers. Christophe Berra, Gordon Greer, Grant Hanley, Alan Hutton, Russell Martin, Callum Patterson, Andrew Robertson, Kieran Tierney are the defenders. In the midfield, Ikechi Anya, Barry Bannan, Oliver Burke, Darren Fletcher, James Forrest, James MacArthur, Kevin McDonald, John McGinn, Barry Mackay, James Morrison, Matt Ritchie and Robert Snodgrass. And the forwards, Stephen Fletcher, Leigh Griffiths, Chris Martin and Stephen Naismith. So, no Shaun Maloney, no Ross McCormack as well, Mark Guidi.
Yeah, Ross McCormack, he's scored already for Aston Villa, got the £12-13 million £move. I thought he would be in the squad. You know, I think he's a good player. I think he's good enough to be in the squad. Shaun Maloney, I'm very surprised that Gordon Strachan and Shaun Maloney have a really close relationship as well, and I thought he would be in. So I'm very surprised. Again, he scored at the weekend for Hull City. So I'm surprised the two are left out. The other one that's not there, of course, is Lee Wallace too. A lot of people think that should be in there, but he's got Andrew Roberts, he's got Kieran Tierney. For me, Kieran Tierney is the outstanding Scottish left back at the moment. Yeah,
it depends on where you read your papers, Ruffy. If you're reading them in Aberdeen, the headline is no Aberdeen players in the squad either. But I think the main contender for it is Graham Shinnie, and we just have so many good left backs.
Yes, we certainly do. And if you look at the squad, that myself and Mark were talking about, it's the same as just about. If you're going to start picking the team, there's nobody sort of jumping out at you that's going to surprise any of us from last year. It's going to be the majority of the same people. It'd be interesting to see if Gordon Strachan's changed his mind on Leigh Griffiths, because we were saying that he was saying that Leigh doesn't fall into that one man up front, no category. He's scoring goal for fun now, free kicks, whatever. It remains to be seen if that goes out of the window and he's our main striker this year. Good to see Robert Snodgrass back. I think he is a massive player for us. It's good that he's back in the squad.
Yeah, I'll touch on the captaincy in a moment and whether you think it's as vital these days as it was in years gone by. But as far as Leigh Griffiths is concerned, there's no doubt about it, he's one of the most improved strikers and has forced his way into Gordon Strachan's thinking. I mean, could he play a two, with the likes of Chris Martin?
He could do, but if you speak to Leigh Griffiths, Peter, his preference is to play alone with people around about him rather than being part of a two, because he likes to move around and sort of dominate the space. So I think he's better on his own. I think he deserves to be up there on his own for the game against Malta away from home. And Leigh Griffiths, when you look at the money that's going around down south, Peter, for guys in the Championship that haven't played any European games, albeit the Championship's a tough division, for me Leigh Griffiths now is just a couple of goals, will it be for Scotland early in this campaign, or if Celtic qualify for the group stages. He's a couple of goals away, high profile goals, from being a £10 million striker, in my opinion. I think he now goes into that category of becoming an asset valued down south, such as a Jordan Rhodes, a Ross McCormack.
The funny thing is, Mark, I didn't expect you to say that, and in a strange sort of way I disagree with you, on the basis that a lot of English clubs might look and think, he's had that chance down there. Do you think they would go back in again? Not that I'm suggesting he should get a move from Celtic. I think he will try and finish his career there. But I'd be amazed if anybody was willing to pay that money on the basis that he'd already been down there. Not that that's our main topic of conversation.
No, I hear what you're saying, and there's definitely merit in that. He was down there when he was, 22, 23 at Wolves for a year, but how many starts did he get? Now people say, well, he didn't merit starts. He's now 26. He's played at a high level for 2 or 3 years now in front of 40, 50, 60,000 fans. He's scoring goals in Europe, and when you do that, Peter, Rangers are back in the league, so there's more profile in the Scottish. I'm not saying at the moment he's 10 million, but I think he's a couple of high profile goals away from going into that category. And you look at the money down south, it's nothing, even for a Championship club come January, who are pushing towards the playoffs to go and say there's 8 million, 9 million for Leigh Griffiths, why not?
Well, to be honest with you, even at the bottom end of the Premiership, Ruffy, 8, 9, 10 million could be the difference between staying in that league or not, on the evidence of watching Sunderland at the weekend. I take what Mark's saying, but I just wonder if people think twice because he's been there already.
Well, I think we all know he's a better player than then. I think he's a far better player now, but I think he has to do what Mark's saying, the high-profile ones. But when going back to the money side, there's Grant Hanley, Newcastle. How much?
5 million.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Would we have said? Would we all have agreed on that?
Yeah. No, I accept what you're saying. You two guys were having a wee argument before we come on there, and we debate about who's going to be the starting 11. Who did you pick for the game against Malta?
What I think the team will be, providing everybody's fit: David Marshall in goals, back four, Alan Hutton, Russell Martin, Grant Hanley, Kieran Tierney, holding two, James Morrison, Darren Fletcher. I'd make Dan Fletcher the captain. The three in front: Robert Snodgrass, Stephen Naismith and Matt Ritchie, and Leigh Griffiths up top.
Ruffy?
Yeah, I was far away from that. Marshall in goal, back four of Hutton, Martin, Hanley. I had Robertson in there just before Tierney. I had a five in the midfield: Snodgrass, MacArthur, Fletcher, Morrison and Ritchie, and Griffiths, and I'd give the captaincy to Snodgrass.
Yeah, I'd be in your camp on that one. I think Darren Fletcher's probably in the twilight of his career, although I still think he's a wonderful player. But I do think he'll probably look for somebody long term. If Snodgrass can steer clear of injury, then he'd be an ideal captain. Although, is there any great stature to it these days, captaincies?
I think there is, Peter, and I think more so off the park, because when you're with the international team, as Ruffy knows, you're away 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. You need somebody that's disciplined, that's a good pro, that's got the respect of the squad, because players can be tempted to go off the rails and break curfews and go. And so I think you've got
just out of curiosity, soaking captains.
Well, yeah,
we've had that.
Ruffy was a captain once and
it all went pear-shaped.
Led a 20-man charge at the hotel. But listen, Snodgrass has got that as well. James Morrison has got it. Russell Martin's got it. So there's plenty of I just think just now, at the start of a campaign, an important campaign, I just think that Dan Fletcher kind of ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, OK then. Let's switch our attention from Scotland to Celtic flew out yesterday for the return leg. There's still a slight chance, according to the Hapoel Beersheba camp, that they could produce a miracle. I can't see it. I think this one is done and dusted, Mark, unless you're going to tell me differently, because we've disagreed since the start of the programme.
No, I agree with you 100%, Peter. I think the fifth goal by Scott Brown absolutely nailed it down for Celtic. Had it been 4-2, I would have had a bit of concern. At 5-2, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic lose tomorrow night, but I think they'll score, so it could be a 2-1 defeat. But 3-goal cushion, Celtic will be in the draw on Friday. Yeah,
and there was a little bit of gossip and rumour flying about this morning, Ruffy, about Celtic possibly being linked with Bastian Schweinsteiger, but I think Brendan Rodgers fairly killed that one off when he said he's looking for a marquee signing who can run.
Yes, and I read that article, and I thought possibly there was possibly a wee undercurrent of a wee dig there at.
You think?
No, not that particular person, but another person who we were speaking about earlier on, when he says, "I'm not going to go into the market for a player who's getting on."
Yeah. Who was that?
I'm telling you who. Let me finish.
Right. Okay.
Who's a midfield player who can't do box to box.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go for that. I thought it was a wee undercurrent to Joey Barton.
Yeah. Oh, right. Ruffy. I didn't say it well. The look on Mark's face and the look in mine tells me.
But just the way he put it in. There's no way we're going to.
I thought he was being in Schweinsteiger.
No.
He didn't want to say because he can't pronounce
it. No, he just said.
Joey Barton's easier.
Yeah. No, he just said he wasn't going to break the bank. He wasn't going to put a player who's at the twilight of his career, who couldn't do box to box, blah blah blah. And it just seemed to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me being an old cynic.
Yeah. You're an old cynic, and you're wrong. But I certainly didn't see it. Maybe you did. You might agree with Ruffy on that. You can give us your thoughts on it as well. At Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Coming up in the next part of the programme, I'll get these guys to give us their thoughts of the weekend football. There was certainly plenty of goals about, and certainly a number of strikers just posting their intent to try and keep the goals firing in for their sides in the Premiership and in the Championship as well. We'll hear from the Hibs boss Neil Lennon, but we'll also talk about the other Premiership games, including a certain Aberdeen striker, Niall McGinn. It's all coming up next. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. It's always good to have a look back over the weekend, especially on a Monday morning when you get the papers. Not really a lot to get people upset about. Maybe a ref just starting the game early, another referee who thinks that everybody's got it in for him, and of course Chris Miller just throwing a grenade in there saying that Scott Brown should come out and say that Leigh Griffiths is a diver and a cheat as well. So it's good to know that everybody's getting on with each other, Ruffy. just a few of the topics from the papers in the morning.
Yeah, and it looks as if it's hopefully it's not the way it goes on, although it is good to read. But that's good. That's what we want to talk. We want to discuss things like that. You know, and it is.
I thought Chris Miller's point was it's just one of those. It's an absolute classic. If you say something one week and then it comes back to bite you 2 weeks later.
Yeah, the thing is, the debate about the challenge and the Leigh Griffiths, did he dive, did he not dive, comparing it to Jamie Walker, I don't think there's any comparison because it was contact. I still think the referee called it right. I don't think it was a penalty, but I don't think it was necessarily a booking either. So the referee for me was 50% right. Yeah,
but the mere fact that he did book him, that takes away any chance of any retrospective, look at the situation and give a similar outcome to the one that Hearts got. Yep. The only thing about it as well, Ruffy, is Celtic didn't gain any advantage either. No. So the referee spotted it, wasn't conned by anything, and decided it was a yellow card. But you could put your mortgage on some St Johnstone players coming out and mentioning exactly what had gone before, but don't hold your breath if you're waiting for somebody to come out and have a go at Leigh Griffiths on it. At the weekend, Rangers 2-1. Another test passed Ruffy, albeit it was the late show. Mm-hmm. And having watched the game, Motherwell had chances in the game, and a number of Rangers fans I've been speaking to still not happy with certain aspects of the team.
No, I think we all spoke at the beginning of the season of the expectation of the Rangers fans, and I think it was there at half time. You know, the boos that were ringing out, they weren't happy with what they were seeing, and there is a big expectation there. Fortunately enough, they came out in the second half, and to be perfectly honest, the 2 goals that Rangers got were fortunate because they came off defenders, if you know what I mean. They broke to the right person, and I'm sure if you speak to Mark McGee, he'll have said we could have had 2-0 and we'd been able to see out 2-0, but the goalkeeper had 2 fantastic saves. But to spin that around, Rangers will take the win. Take the 3 points, sit on top of the league. That's what their fans want.
Yeah. Listen, you could knock him. Some people talking about in the twilight of his career. I've got a lot of respect for Kenny Miller. Yeah. And again, he pops up with a goal. I mean, whether he's the Kenny Miller of old, at 35, 36, still scoring goals.
Peter, you're right. It doesn't matter about what he can't give you or what he didn't give you. It's about now. And if he's scoring goals now, then great, good on him. The positive that you take for Rangers from the game on Saturday is that they kept going to the end. Even though we get a bit of stick from the fans, they didn't let it put him off. And Kenny Miller just leads by example. I'm told that Joe Gardner is a Kenny Miller of 7-8 years ago. He's a really busy player. He works his socks off for the team. So I'm told he's a kind of younger version of Kenny Miller. But Kenny Miller still has a big contribution to make, and none more so for when Rangers go to Celtic Park on September the 10th. Kenny Miller's experience during that game, before and during and maybe after it, will be absolutely vital for Mark Warburton.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't get, the closer we get to it, there's always a bit of spin, a bit of hype, hysteria as well, Ruffy. I hope it doesn't start to just marginalise itself into Scott Brown, Joey Barton battle.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, because there's much more to an old, there's much more to an Old Firm game than that.
I think as long as if it's directed in the right way, it doesn't become aggressive or anything like something that we can all chat about. I mean, we saw the Brown Juve, scenario, which nearly got out of hand. I wouldn't like to see anything like that happening.
Yeah.
But certainly, if you're going to think that there's nothing going to happen before that game, you better confiscate all phones in the week leading up to that, and don't let any interviews go on, because somebody will say something.
But I think if I'm Mark Warburton, Peter, after the comments of last week, I know they're slightly tongue-in-cheek, but Mark Warburton has then got to face questions about that, which he doesn't need the hassle of dealing with that kind of thing. If he's not already said it, I would say it to Joey. If I'm the manager, I'd say to Joey Barton, you do not say a word between now and the game against Celtic. You keep quiet and don't bring any unwanted attention onto yourself, the dressing room, or me. And possibly likewise, Brendan Rodgers with Scott Brown. Don't get involved, don't give it any hype. Keep on. Listen, that's no good for us. I know we would rather have it in this business, but if you're putting yourself in the manager's shoes, they don't need things like that.
I think that word will. I think it's already taken place. I think it's just a calm. Nothing. It's not really kind of a trying to tell them off. I think it's just a case of, okay, that's fine. Listen, we get the way the world's going, but this game you've never experienced anything like it. So think long and hard. Okay, I'm sure we can hype it up the closer we get to it. Still got a fair bit of time, guys. Aberdeen, Partick Thistle. Now, out of that game, Niall McGinn, the free kick was a peach, worthy of a Brazilian, to be honest with you. And he's quite keen to stay. I think that would be a great bit of business for Derek McInnes.
Yeah, Niall McGinn is undoubtedly an asset to the team. You've got Johnny Hayes there, you've got Adam Rooney, all in long-term contracts. So yeah, I think to get Niall McGinn tied down by a good piece of business by Derek McInnes and the Aberdeen board. Yep.
As far as Hearts are concerned, Ruffy, that was a real brilliant scoreline for Robbie Neilson after all the flack that was coming his way the week before. And I'll tell you, I like Don Cowie.
Yes, and I think if you ask the Hearts fans, I don't think they expected it either after the results they had. Not bad results, just results that never went their way. But to start the game like that, and we've all had our own say on the Inverness side, and they just looked, I don't know what word to use here, just organised. They didn't look. We're looking for leaders, or we're looking for somebody to help them. But Hearts just run over the top of them, and every one of them was a quality goal. And you're right, Boy Cowie was at the middle of everything that he did.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely, and I think he's got a real shout for being the captain if Ozturk can't force his way back in.
Don Cowie, absolutely. We're talking about Dan Fletcher earlier. Don Cowie is a model professional. The manager can rely on him. He's got the respect to his teammates. So yeah, absolutely, Don Cowie, great piece of business. Peter got him for nothing. Brought him up here. Craig Levein knew him from having him in the Scotland squad. I'm not saying he was a Craig Levein signing for 1 minute. But what I'm saying is he's brought a nice bit of calm and a nice bit of experience to that setup.
Yep, and Boyce chipped in with 2 goals for Ross County. Do you have worries for Inverness and Kelly?
Yeah, I've said about Inverness right from the start. I think they'll be a bottom 3 team for most of the season, and the evidence of the weekend, I can't see that changing. Kilmarnock again, away from home, just looked disorganised. It looked as if it was 12 guys who haven't met each other before, and they're all trying to play a game.
Yeah, okay. In the Championship, Hibs, again with a good win at St Mirren. We'll get your thoughts on it in a moment, Mark. I know you were at the game. This is Neil Lennon singing the praises of the 2-goal man, Jason Cummings.
For Jason and the club have knocked it back. There may be other suitors out there, but we've had no confirmed offers just yet. And we signed them on a long-term contract, so it's important we do keep him.
Well, I think that's good news and something that every Hibs fan wants to hear, that he's determined to try and keep a hold of him.
Yeah, Hibs have got ambitions to go and win the league this year, and I can see why. I think they have got the best squad, great options, Peter, and I think, if I'm putting myself in the shoes of Jason Cummings, I don't want to go to Peterborough, with all respect. I think that a year down the line, he can go and become a championship player, or dare I say it, go to a bigger Scottish club, depending on his valuation. So I think that he'll be there to help Hibs for the next 10 months.
Yeah, Dundee United got a good win as well, Ruffy. Watched that game. They look as if they're starting to get a bit of momentum too.
Yeah, they're getting momentum on the park and also off it as well. I noticed the attendance at the weekend that's beginning to go back up again. Obviously, Dundee United supporters were very disillusioned at the end of last season, but the team's winning and the support's coming back again.
And Mark, we are all warming to Wraith Rovers and what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, delighted for Gary Locke and for Dan Jackson beside him. And certainly, you know, Wraith Rovers looking again as if they're going to be a team that's certainly pushing into the playoff spot. So, yeah, good luck to the pair of them.
Okay, that's just about it from us here on the Football Show. Join us Monday to Thursday, 7 o'clock if you can. Friday, the extended programme at 6:30. And of course, Saturday, 2 o'clock till 6. Gordon Smith, Frank McAvenny and Alan Ruff will take you through the afternoon with me. 4 hours with all the goals as they hit the back of the net, opinion and interviews as well. Join us if you can for that. Just briefly, guys, scoreline for tomorrow night's playoff return leg against Hapoel.
Hapoel 2, Celtic 2.
I'm going to go 1 each.
1 each. Okay then, if you want to put your money on that, then you can blame Mark Guidi and Alan Ruff for you losing it, or you might want to celebrate. Thanks to Mark Guidi for joining us as our boot room guest, and of course Ruffy will be back with me tomorrow to do it all again with another boot room guest. Thanks for watching. Good night.